Wait, Penelope's here? This can't be good for Andi. I hope Penelope didn't come here to start no mess with Andi.
If she did, she'll be good. You told her all your Layla Ali moves, didn't you?
Zach, yes, but she only be popping and leaving here with all these rich white folks. You know, they can't take that. Your managing partner gig, the target on your back is even bigger. I never gave it much thought. I am going to send your location to my phone.
Yeah, so looking at the comments and also on Twitter, a lot of people seem to be in agreement that at this point, and keep in mind, this isn't something brand spanking new that I'm bringing to the public's attention. A number of fans have been feeling this way for a while, but this recent episode pretty much all but confirmed it. But and the promo for the finale as well, that at this point, yeah, Fatima has been reduced to nothing more than Andi's guard dog, and those are the words used by some fans. Like, don't say, "Oh, Jeremy, there we go, hating women again. He's calling Fatima a dog." No, I've literally seen YouTube comments on my videos and a couple of tweets that said in those exact words, "Yeah, Fatima got to stop acting like Andi's guard dog." Because one of the highlights of the episode, and trust me, there were few, was when Fatima learned from Zach that, "Hey, I just saw Penelope in here. You don't think that her and Andi are going to get into something, right?" And then, wait, Penelope's here? And then when Fatima was about to drop everything and go to the front to be by Andi's side, Zach's like, no, Andi is grown. Let her handle her own business. And I couldn't agree more. But on top of that, in the promo for next week, and I've already talked about how ridiculous of a premise it is, that out of nowhere, we're going to see Andi being just grabbed from someone hiding in the back of her car. But Fatima says, well, since you're partner, there's going to be a bigger target on you now more than ever. And Andi's like, wait, I never thought of it like that. And then she's like, yeah, let me go ahead and put your location in my phone so I can track you. And I'm like, but why though? Okay, well, but Jeremy, if you look at the promo, as you just said, it's a good thing Fatima did put that location in her phone. That way, otherwise she wouldn't have known about what is about to happen to Andi. So touche, but it just feels out of nowhere. And keep in mind, and another detriment of the whole, this is why the month later time skip really sucks. Andi, it was voted that she'd be managing partner a month ago. And Fatima never brought it to Andi's attention until her first day as managing partner, that, hey, now that you are partner, there's going to be a bigger target on your back, right? Like, why hasn't that been brought up before? Because given the circumstances, the pistol whipping and Robin's threats, Hayden is on his best behavior now. And Robin is about to leave town. So what kind of target is going to be put on her back? Obviously, we know it depends on who's the person that's in the back of her car. If it's Penelope as a revenge thing against Andi about Jordan, or if it's Jasmine or Hudson or whoever else. But this premise just feels completely unnecessary. And then the last thing I want to bring up is the fact that some people, during my spaces over, I think Friday night, a couple of the people I had on there mentioned how Fatima's way too good to Andi, and it's like Andi isn't as good a friend to her. But then I thought, and I brought up the point, like, yeah, I know I'm not the biggest Andi supporter as of this season, but I just wanted to bring up the fact that when you really think about it, Fatima doesn't really require as much help. Andi, when you kind of think about it, and don't get me wrong here, more often than not, Fatima chooses to include herself in situations where Andi is meeting with Gary or she's getting into something, as opposed to Andi actually asking. Now, I'm not saying Andi has never asked for Fatima's support, like, hey, can you come with me to do this? Fatima usually volunteers because she knows something is about to pop off. So Fatima doesn't really ask for help. If nothing else, it just seems to me like Andi supports Fatima in terms of being her gal pal and a listening ear. Obviously, she's not Fatima's hired muscle, so I wouldn't say that Andi takes advantage of Fatima. It's just that's just how Fatima is. It's almost like she looks at Andi like a little sister that she has to protect, rather than Andi taking advantage of her. You know, that's how I look at it. And I mean, think of it this way: like, Fatima didn't want Zach to, you know, have breakfast with her to make it seem like she was taking advantage of Andi being partner. So, but then again, that argument didn't make sense to me because, okay, even when Andi was at the job before the suspension, that never stopped Zach from popping up before, either to take you to lunch, bring you lunch, or, you know, pick you up from work or whatever. And the only time, you know, it seemed like there was some sort of disruption is like whenever you two were about to kiss, and then Andy's like, don't you have work to do? Which I always thought was kind of dumb because you were slobbering down with the owner of the law firm. So, like, why in the world are you hating? But whatever. So, yeah, I don't think that Fatima is being taken advantage of. That's just my opinion. But in terms of the way the script is written, I feel like they've really... It does Andi no favors in terms of her development or displaying her capabilities or handling herself if Fatima is constantly running to her aid. So I really did appreciate Zach shutting down Fatima trying to run to Andi's, you know, assistance when it really wasn't necessary. I mean, there were no physical exchanges between her and Penelopey. It was just a war of words. And as somebody said in the comments of my live stream, they were like, hey, you know what? Even though, yeah, I'm with you, Jeremy, I don't blame Andi for what Jordan and Penelopey did, which both landed them in jail. But it's the fact that Andi needs to check herself because it's like she has an inflated ego over her new partner position and somebody needed to deflate it. And Penelopey just happened to have the needle in hand. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.